Hey guys, JuV Day 9, and I thought it's time to start one of the new series that I'm planning on doing that I've alluded to in previous videos. And this one, I haven't got a proper title for the series yet, but it's going into the working title of Alternate Universes. And the idea is I'm just going to take a character that's appeared in numerous different universes within its franchise and sort of compare them. Now, this is mainly going to be comic books, and it's mainly going to be Marvel because that's what I'm most familiar with, but I'm going to play around with it and see what I can do, if this even works. I don't know if it will. So who better to start with than one of the biggest characters ever, Wolverine. He's been around for so long, so long, and be a good one to go for. The original Wolverine from Marvel Comics has done everything, but the core beats of his character are that he's a bit of a loner, he's got a great love for Japan and its culture, and he's a member of the XMen. I think that's sort of among the main beats. He's a very remorseful killer that is trying to basically redeem himself a bit, and he's now got sort of seniority status on the X-Men, despite the fact that he still goes rogue every now and again. I think that's the sort of core of him. And now, onto some other universes. Age of Apocalypse Wolverine only has one hand. He's still got the claws underneath his in his arm, but he does not have the hand itself, that it's because it got chopped off by Cyclops with his eye beams. Huh. He is also a bit of a loner. He's not too far different from the main Wolverine, other than he actually is together with Jean Grey, but that's... And he also became Apocalypse a couple of years ago, when that was a whole thing, really. That was a weird one. In the Age of X, which was another event type thing, he lost his powers effectively because he had to dispose of a cure for mutancy by ingesting it. And his healing factor could stop the cure, and it can stop his adamantium poisoning, but he can't do anything else now because, well, any more strain would kill him properly. Earth X was a weird one, where it reveals that Wolverine isn't human, isn't mutant, he's a member of the Moon Clan, where he, they sort of, they're weird. If anyone knows Moon Boy, then yes, basically Wolverine was Moon Boy. There were several versions of Wolverine in the Exiles comic book, which is one of my favourites, and the only ones that particularly were of note were ones where they had teams of Wolverines. There were so many Wolverines, and they all had different ones, and they all were... It was a bunch of nonsense in so many ways, but one of them was Babby Wolverine as a teenager when he was just getting his powers in the claws for the first time, and well, he just kind of... There were so many versions of him involved in that. Also of note from the Exiles is the version of Wolverine from Nocturnes world, where he was disabled while being controlled to kill Xavier, and, well, there was... basically, he ended up taking on Xavier's role alongside Nightcrawler and going around on crutches all the time. There's so many realities where Wolverine is dead. His adamantium skeleton always outlasts him. Now, there's a very, very cool reality where Wolverine is known as General Howlett, and he was a leader in the army of the British Empire and Viceroy of Canada. And he got his skeleton bonded to adamantine, the godly version of adamantium, instead of adamantium. And he's been dimension hopping as well, and well, he's in a relationship with Hercules. There's been some hints in the main Marvel universe before that Wolverine and Hercules had a relationship of some form. It was very cute. There's a Marvel Mangaverse, and in the Marvel Mangaverse, Wolverine founds the X-Men instead of Charles, and, well, he's got one set of metal claws, and on the other, he's got a set of energy claws, because he's brothers with Cyclops. In a weird, weird way. He's also just, the Mangaverse is weird in the first place. He's much more explicitly got a redhead fetish. Wolverine in Mutant X ended up being a savage wolf pack type guy. He's just going around, running around in the wilderness in Canada. Butt naked, if I remember right. You may or may not have heard of Old Man Logan, which has only been about for about 10 years, but he's very well known now because he got put into the main Marvel universe for a while. And he's a pacifist version of Wolverine because he got tricked into killing all of the X-Men, and that's not good. But he was going around just trying to make ends meet and not get beat by the Hulk's hillbilly grandchildren. He's an interesting character, but he's not far from dead, I think, at this point. There's a universe called the Amalgam universe where DC and Marvel merged together. And to work on that, they merged Wolverine with Batman to create Dark Claw. It's an interesting one that, kind of gets to the core of both of them, ish. The only other particularly notable version of Wolverine in the comics continuities is the Ultimate version of Wolverine, which, in keeping with the more jaded, cynical and darker version of the Marvel Universe that the Ultimate one is, Wolverine's a dick. He was a remorseless killer. He is in the... he started off in the Magneto's Brotherhood, and only defected when he fell in love with Jean Grey, who he confessed all to in bed, and then she beat the shit out of him, which was fun. He is properly in the X-Men as of whenever, but he also ended up being the Ultimate version of Cable, because the Ultimate version of Cable was a version of him from a future where he was... it was a mess, the Ultimate Universe, in so many ways, but in some ways it was a good one. He also died, very memorably, in a way that no one felt made sense, because he was found to have the ability to survive anything, and then, well, he got killed by Magneto in a way that didn't make sense. Just because that's all for the comics doesn't mean that it's all in general, because there's TV and movies. And, well, the version that was in Pride of the X-Men from the 80s was Australian for some reason. And that's all that was really particularly notable about that version. The 90s TV show was very good, and he was a bit more of a loner in a lot of ways. And he got his claws when he got the adamantium in this version, unlike in most versions. X-Men Evolution was a great version of the story, and Wolverine didn't have the hots for Jean Grey in the slightest, which was great because, well, she was a teenager and he was old enough to be in World War II. So that was a thing. He took on the Ultimate version's uniform at one point, so that was good. The movie version of Wolverine is played by, obviously, Hugh Jackman, and doesn't need overly much explanation. He's basically the main character of the X-Men movies, doesn't need too much introduction. He is much taller than Wolverine's meant to be, and that was quite controversial because he's a full foot taller than Wolverine. I hope that this was a reasonably engaging video. It would be a really good thing to sort of play around with again. I may or may not end up trying to do it again, we'll see. But Yeah, I hope this was engaging. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, so I know whether it's worth carrying on or not. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you remember to like and share it and subscribe to my channel. Click on the thumbnails down below to see other videos by me, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the next day of JuV. Bye!